When you pick up a bag of coffee labelled single origin and see a price tag that seems absurd, you might wonder why a pound of beans could cost more than a fancy dinner. It's not just a marketing gimmick. The truth is, there is a complex chain of effort, expertise, and natural conditions that go into producing these beans. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why single-origin coffee commands such a premium, and you might even look at your morning cup a little differently. And before we dive in, if you want to keep uncovering the hidden layers behind everyday things, make sure to subscribe now. You won't want to miss what we have coming next. The journey from cherry to cup is longer and more intricate than you think. Every pound of coffee starts as over 1,500 coffee cherries, each containing 2 seeds that will eventually become your beans. These cherries are grown on small plots, often high in the mountains, where climate, altitude and soil combine to create unique flavors. In regions like Nyeri County, Kenya, smallholder farmers cultivate coffee on plots often no larger than an acre. The plants grow slowly, taking months to ripen properly. This slow maturation is essential. Coffee that matures too quickly rarely develops the complex flavors associated with single-origin beans. Every aspect of the environment, the volcanic soil, consistent rainfall and sunlight, interacts with the plant to create flavor nuances that you won't find anywhere else. Quality controls begin in the field with hand-picking. Unlike mass-produced coffee, which is harvested with machines, single-origin coffee often requires painstaking manual labor. Machines can harvest entire trees at once, mixing ripe and unripe cherries, which reduces quality. In contrast, small-scale farmers carefully pick cherries by hand, selecting only those that are perfectly ripe. Every unripe or overripe cherry left on the tree or removed during harvest directly affects the flavor profile. This attention to detail ensures that when the beans are brewed, the distinct regional notes, floral, fruity, or even chocolatey, come through clearly. This is why single-origin coffee is considered superior. The unique taste reflects not just the plant, but the place and people behind it. The processing method directly affects the taste and cost. Once the cherries are harvested, they must be processed quickly to maintain quality. So, the most common method in places like Kenya is actually the washed process. First, the outer skin is removed, and then the beans are fermented for about 12 to 14 hours. This helps break down the sticky mucilage that surrounds the seed. After that, workers wash the beans and spread them out on drying tables. They turn the beans by hand, sometimes for up to 2 weeks, just to make sure everything dries evenly. You know, each stage is really labor-intensive and time-sensitive. Any misstep along the way can reduce quality, and those lower-quality beans are separated out and sold at a much lower price. This level of meticulous care, honestly, contributes quite a bit to the cost of single-origin coffee. Roasting, you know, really requires expertise to preserve those unique flavors that make each coffee special. Single-origin coffee is roasted to highlight the natural flavors that develop during cultivation and processing. Unlike commodity coffee, which is often roasted dark just to mask inconsistencies, specialty coffee is roasted lightly or medium to preserve its unique characteristics. Roasters, well, they carefully monitor temperature, colour and aroma throughout the process, sometimes making adjustments on the fly to achieve the perfect roast. This requires both experience and specialised equipment, and even a small mistake can overshadow the subtle notes that define the coffee. The precision and expertise involved in roasting add both value and cost to the final product. While the care in cultivation, harvesting, processing and roasting justifies much of the premium, market dynamics also play a role. The global benchmark for Arabica coffee, known as the C market, sets prices based on commodity trading. However, this does not account for quality, making it volatile and often insufficient for smallholder farmers to cover production costs. Specialty and single-origin coffees are sold at a premium to offset this imbalance, supporting sustainable farming practices and rewarding the producers for their labour-intensive work. The high price reflects not only the scarcity of these beans, but also the investments in infrastructure, transportation and fair trade relationships. You know, single-origin coffee often comes from small farms or even single estates, which means the harvest is, well, pretty limited. The smaller the production, the more rare the beans become, and the more carefully they must be handled. When you drink a single-origin cup, you're actually experiencing a flavour profile that's unique to a particular farm, a particular region, and, quite often, a particular season. This kind of exclusivity, along with the labour and expertise invested at every stage, really does justify prices that can reach dozens or even hundreds of dollars per pound in extreme cases. Many specialty coffee roasters work directly with farmers through direct trade relationships. This ensures that farmers receive a fair price for their high-quality beans, and it allows roasters to trace every step of the journey from cherry to cup. While these practices can increase the cost for consumers, they are essential for sustainability and quality. When you buy single-origin coffee, you're often paying not just for flavour, but for a transparent, ethical supply chain that benefits both producer and consumer. When you brew a cup of single-origin coffee, you're tasting the culmination of months of careful growth, hand-picking, processing and roasting. Each sip reflects the environmental conditions, the labour of the farmers and the skill of the roasters. The price isn't just a number. It's the value of craftsmanship, attention to detail, and respect for the coffee's origin. You know, understanding this journey really helps explain why single-origin coffee costs so much more than standard blends, and why, honestly, enthusiasts are willing to pay a premium for the experience. Single-origin coffee is more than just a beverage. It's, well, an expression of place, time, and human effort. The next time you enjoy a cup, you can appreciate the story behind it, from high-altitude farms to meticulous handpicking to careful roasting that preserves every nuance. If you've learned something new today, take a moment to subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the hidden stories behind the things we often take for granted. And share this with anyone who drinks coffee. They'll thank you once they understand what makes single origin so special.